And we're going to start. This is the March 15th meeting of the Parks, Trees, and Trails Advisory Committee. And let's do roll. Let's start with you, Rod, and work our way around.
Rod here.
Cindy?
Rick Barnett.
Nancy Brewer.
Dave Workman.
Jan Diamantine.
Perfect. The first item is welcoming approval of minutes. Did everybody get a chance to read the minutes? Were there any concerns? On the original ones, we had several trees and it'd be fun to have servals in the trees, but I think it's several trees and it's been corrected now. Do I have a motion to accept the minutes?
I make a motion to accept the minutes of the February 15th meeting.
Got a second? When the red light's on, they tell me. I'm just now learning how to use this thing. All in favor, say aye.
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 Any opposed? Didn't think so. Okay, we're going to welcome new committee member Cindy Kirby. You want to just give us a 1 minute background of your interest in the community and your interest here on the committee?
I didn't know I was going to be on the spot.
Well, we can make it really short.
Okay, so my name is Cindy Kirby, and
You are off now. The red light means on. There you go.
so now it's working. Okay, so I'm Cindy Kirby. I am the chairperson of the Lebanon Strawberry Festival. I've been involved with the Lebanon Strawberry Festival now we were just discussing, I think it's 8 years. So my interest really started in the park at Cheetah Lake because I've been involved in everything the Strawberry Festival has put into the lake, and that was the permanent home for the Strawberry Festival, or intended to be. So that's where it really started. And then it's just kind of, I have a business here in town. So I run Gateway Imprints in downtown Lebanon. So I do a lot of stuff with other nonprofits and community groups. So they're always utilizing the parks. And I think it's kind of a great way to give back to the city of Lebanon.
Perfect. Thank you. If you want to go another 15 minutes, we can. But
Nope.
okay, you're
No
done.
desire.
Next item is Tree City USA recognition. You want to talk about that, Nancy? It's a good thing.
Wait, I wasn't planning on this either, Cindy. So you and me, we got to figure it out. Huh? So we were recognized again for Tree City USA. This is, I can't even tell you how many years in a row. 21. So we're legal now.
Yeah.
And it really represents the work we do to maintain and manage trees, trees in the right of way, trees in parks, and natural areas around town. We do have a crew that works hard to maintain our street trees in particular and make sure that they stay healthy and trim back from, overhead branches hitting people on the sidewalks or vehicles driving down the road. So we're pleased and happy to be able to maintain that Tree City recognition. It's important to the natural environment.
That's terrific. And it is an important step that shows that the community is interested and doing the right things. I saw the guys putting up a new Tree City USA sign out that way. So those are good too. And people notice those. So that's great. Discussion items, application review for vacant positions. So I think that what we're to do is just take a look and see if we have any thoughts on these, and then we'll recommend that to the mayor from this group. I know Anna Creel, and she lives across the street from the skate park, and I think she would do a good job. She's a retired teacher, and so I know that. And I think Linda was she the lady that was here last time to talk to us? Oh, she is. She's right there. Yeah. And Linda you talked to us last time about, am I right? Oh, okay. Okay. No, that's okay. I'm just confused. Any thoughts? We want to recommend these folks? I think we do, but.
Was one going to represent the parks and one represent the trees, or which is?
I think that's what I have taken. I think
Anna says parks enthusiast at the bottom.
Yeah, and Linda, I think, identifies parks, but also trees as both interests, so.
Okay. Perfect. So
I
go ahead.
reviewed the applications and they look good, like good candidates.
Good. Okay, do we want to recommend to the mayor that he appoint these folks?
I'll make that recommendation.
Okay. Yep. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Good. Got to get through the mayor, but you're almost in now. So, Star Spangled Celebration. Somebody else is going to have to talk about that because I don't have a clue what's happening on that.
About it.
Oh, you're going to talk about
Yeah.
that. Okay.
So the Lebanon Strawberry Festival has done the Star Spangled Celebration for the past several years. Well, 3 years, well, before COVID, so like 4 years. And then before that, it was the Lebanon Community Foundation that did it. Both of those groups have decided to let it go. For the Strawberry Festival, it is too close to our festival. We can't get the volunteers to do it. We've done the fireworks for a couple years just to have fireworks for Lebanon. It was something that the community really wanted, and so we just did it. So we're letting that go and just kind of, we're not going to do it. The Strawberry Festival is not going to do Star Spangled Celebration this year. There was, Jason Williams had mentioned briefly, and we talked to him briefly about if the city wanted to take that on or if somebody else wanted to take that on. Something that was talked about was doing some kind of a timber carnival or something in Lebanon in conjunction with that. But don't know. But at any rate, at this point, the fireworks have been, the company that does the fireworks around the West Coast for 4th of July has really, after COVID, limited how many shows they do. And so a lot of cities don't have them anymore. And because we continued with them over COVID, they have reserved Lebanon a spot on their schedule. So we can have them through that company if we want them. If we don't, then that's a decision that has to be made for Lebanon. But at this point, the Strawberry Festival has secured the fireworks to, the person to shoot them and all of that. It's just a matter of having a group that can arrange for the sponsorships, and it's always been sponsored. So that's what that's about.
Okay. Any discussion on that? It looks like unless somebody steps up, it's just not going to happen. Is that what we're
That's pretty much
seeing?
it.
And I think that's the case in a lot of places.
Mhm.
And the costs have gone up substantially, I believe, too.
It's $15,000.
Yeah.
And you can take away from that or get fewer, you don't have to do that many fireworks. That's what we've done the last few years. And usually Intech sponsors part of it. Well, Weyerhaeuser sponsors part of it. So,
Okay.
but it is something that is going to go away unless somebody takes it on.
Just curious what the timeframe would be before, I mean, logistically, that's kind of close.
Yes.
And-
I mean, somebody just has to let the fireworks company know I've reserved the spot. I mean, because I've worked with them and I supported them through COVID as Strawberry Festival, we continued to do the fireworks and a lot of places didn't. They are very willing to work with us and do whatever we need for Lebanon. And they really want to be a part of that. So I think we have some time, but we're going to have to at least give them, a couple months to make sure they have everything they need. And
Most of the systems, I guess, for lack of a better word, are there in place. We just have
Yes.
to get somebody to buy in.
so it's just a matter of getting the funding to do it and deciding if it's just going to be a fireworks show over the lake, which is what it's been the last few years. It's just literally been fireworks over the lake, or if there'll be an event with it. There's no time to do an event this year. But it just is a matter of somebody arranging the funding to do it.
And there's a lot to it too, with volunteers and,
There's not actually.
okay.
The way it is now with just the fireworks show is we close down the River Road side of the park where they pull in and where the boat ramp is. And we close that down in the morning. The fireworks crews come in with their trucks and they set everything up, and we just have to have a few people there to keep people off the trail because they want to get on the trail for that day. And then, you're just there all day waiting from like noon to 1 o'clock until the end of the day. So it takes 3 to 4 volunteers. I know that I can secure the volunteers for it.
Is there usually a lead sponsor for that and that gets the advertising credit? In other words,
InTech has done it, was $5,000, has done it $5,000 the last few years. Weyerhaeuser has done, I don't remember their amount last year. And the city did pay for part of it last year.
just wondering if there's maybe an opportunity for a organization to be able to say organized by.
And it's just a matter of nobody wants to take it on.
Right.
And we've tried that. And it's one of those things where we get a ton of letters of the community saying, we really enjoyed the fireworks. Thank you for the fireworks. I think you brought one to me last year, the year before, that came from a little girl that wrote a letter. Thank you for the fireworks letter. So it's just a matter of basically securing the fireworks. And whoever wants to run that funding through, I think that the community would pay for it, like their sponsors would pay for it like they always have. It's just having an organization to run the money through to pay for it.
Right. I think it's an opportunity for some organization to get naming rights or to say, this is brought to you by and sponsored by.
Yeah.
It's intriguing.
So it's just a matter of trying to find somebody that is willing to take that on and do that.
I hate to see it go. Kinda
It would
feels
be
like if
sad to
goes,
lose
it'll
it.
never come back.
It won't. I can guarantee you if it goes, it will not come back.
Any other comments or anything we want to, and I'm not sure that we're in any position to do anything other than know about it.
Well, I'm going to inquire from a few people to see if I know some businesses in town. I'll inquire at least. Doesn't hurt to ask.
It'd be nice to just have an organization that can just basically manage the funding, get the funding, manage it.
Okay.
So I just wanted to put it out there. So it was out there.
Good to know. Okay. How about BLT, Build Lebanon Trails update? And is that you, Rod?
Yeah, Jan elected me to do this. So in the last couple of meetings between Nancy and Ron Latch, they've asked for some clarity on projects, on trail projects, on priorities. So the BLT board got together and said, well, this is sort of what we do with our priority list of our goal setting. But we wanted to take into consideration all the work the city has got going, and it's a lot. So what we did was compile a list of mostly city projects that I think really shows the amount of work that the city staff is doing. And we kind of wanted to clarify what we'll be concentrating on. And so I want to just kind of read down through the list and we can discuss it as we go. So Ron had requested a BLT prioritize previously discussed trail projects. And so BLT really does understand that the city has several current trail projects in the works. And we want to support that, the city's ongoing efforts, and we fully understand that staff time is limited due to the big workload. And Nancy, I know when I met with you last week, I talked about how long your list was and the manager's report and staff list. It's extremely long, so there's just a lot going on. I think that really helped to be able to see that report. So BLT, just to talk a little bit about it, BLT has recently signed a letter of agreement with the city to provide $20,000 a year for the next 4 years to help fund a seasonal trail maintenance worker. So along with our volunteer efforts to keep the trails up, we found another way to do it, and it was to help to provide some funding. So the BLT is currently focused on securing needed trail right-of-ways. So we know where we want to go, and one of the very first steps we have to do with anything is to get permission to build on a piece of property. So, and we're going to do that to try to get ahead of the game on extending the existing trails. And we're more than willing to provide support to staff as needed or as requested on this current list of trail projects. And so it's sort of prioritized a lot of stuff is just ongoing right now. So Gill's Landing is a West River Trail, and the city and BLT are partnering on that. BLT estimates a $60,000 materials cost that we're offering to cover. My understanding is that's in development and design, and hopefully we can do that within 23 or 19 or 2024. Beaton Lane is, the city's working on that. It's a trail improvement project to put a pedestrian crossing across Tennessee Road, a lighted early warning pedestrian setup signals, and we've pledged 20,000 for that. The River Park, West River Trail Extension, and Internal Trail Loop. Well, this is the one that last week we went to the Oregon State Parks and applied for a grant for 150,000, plus we had a shortfall of let's see here, it's right here. 59, we had a shortfall of $9,000 for that project. Well, they did the ratings and let us know that after the Oregon State Parks Commission in April votes that we've rated number 6 out of 11. And we are in the funding if that approval happens, which it's usually happens. So that's $159,000 coming into our community. And for that project, BLT's pledged 27,000. And that's over and above that 159,000. So another project that I will be, of course, with the funding, that means it kind of comes up on the priority list. So Cheetah Lake, South Shore Trail improvements, we just did, BLT just led a hike out there on Saturday. We do public hikes or events on the second Saturday of every month to just highlight the things that are happening out there. Just an interesting part, we're all setting up for all the people and all the participants that are coming in, and here comes the project designer, Brian Vendetta, and his wife walking down the trail. So right at the very start, we got an update on everything that's happening there. We saw their survey stakes out on the project, and it's just an exciting project. It's going to be coming to Lebanon. Okay, the trail behind Hattervine Park and the trail between Hattervine Park and Dr. Thad Nelson Trail, that's at Wheeler Street, Wheeler and North Williams. And last year, the city had a project in there, I think it was in their transportation plan, and I believe that was set aside for this year, and it can come back in for next year. So there's already plans to make that trail connection to get closer to the connected directly into the hospital. The West River Trail extension to Bromill Street, although this, and that's from River Park. So we're currently working on securing that needed right away. And we really feel that this trail should become a very high priority once we get that right away. We got 2 things going on with that right away. It looks really positive at this point. We don't want to jinx anything to say we have it, because we don't yet, but that's going to spur the extension of that West River Trail. I mean, don't even know how many feet it is, but it's a lot, all the way to Bromill Street. So we'll make a connection to that whole neighborhood that doesn't have any connection to any trail system or park at the current time. And then the trail between Bromill Street and Hattervine Park. So again, we're continuing the trail towards the hospital. Again, we're waiting on securing that right away until we make sure we get to Bromill Street. And as soon as that happens, we believe we're going to be able to get that right away. And like the other project, that could have an impact on moving it up the priority list.
Can I ask a question really quick?
Sure.
What is those 2 that you want to make higher priority? Do you know what the financial obligation is going to be for those 2 parks or those 2 trails?
Nope, but I know we can cover it and
Okay.
we can get grants for it. Right now, the granting for trail and parks grants is just exceptionally.
Okay.
For COVID dropped off a whole lot of projects. People were afraid of staff levels or whatever. So there currently is as much money as I've ever seen out there for grant projects.
Okay.
And we qualify, we really meet all of the granting requirements for our projects. Okay, 7th Street connection, connecting trail from Airport Road, that's the Applegate development to 7th Street Trail. So I know the city's awaiting a right-of-way determination on that project. That's why it's kind of down on the list. Dewey Street improvements, we hope to go to speak to the ODOT people here this week for the pedestrian and bicycle study that they're currently doing to demonstrate to them the importance of connecting our trail system with their projects that they're funding. And then, of course, there's the Burkhart Creek Trail. although it's very low on this priority list, it's a very important trail system for Lebanon, because it'll eventually anchor the development of the trail all the way from the north of town to the south of town, along the Burkhart Creek system. So that's along the entire west side of the city. And right now, the Old Mill Trail and the West River Trail are on the west side of the city. So it'll become a very important trail system in the future. Okay, so possible shovel-ready projects. Again, we understand the workload is such that this is just a listing of projects that, if there was ever time for development for a cost estimate and a rough design, that'd be great. That's the river. So one of them is the Riverview Park improvements. We're wanting to call this a maintenance project because there's already an existing gravel trail there. And then Jason Williams, at one time, it said he would look into adding a ramp on the south end of that, so that, just a dirt ramp, so that people don't have to go up the steep bank where they're currently accessing it. So a project that we think could happen as time would allow, and with staff's approval, maybe move ahead with that and call it a maintenance project instead of a full-blown design. And then there's always the project of paving the third finger, the gravel trail at Cheetah Lake Park, and it's a low priority. So I think that covers it. It's a lot of trail projects. It's not like we're have to look for things. We have so many already, and because of other things that are happening with improvements in the town, such as 7th Street there at Applegate, there's extra projects on the list. Dewey Street improvements is an extra project that could happen, and we just wanted to recognize that there's a lot going on, and that's our priority list, and hopefully it comes close to what city staff priorities are.
I appreciate the way that BLT is handling that, because they're recognizing that there's a lot here. It can't all happen. City staff is not going to be able to support all that, but you've got it. So when the opportunity comes around, like a granting opportunity or something, you're ready. It's, here it is. Here's what we're looking at. So I really appreciate that attitude towards it, and then knowing that it's not the expectation that it's all going to get done right now, but over time probably will. And the fact that you're bringing, what do you say that grant was, $159,000 into the community, that's incredible.
And we love doing that too. And there's a lot of opportunities out there, but really
And Lebanon has you've really developed a trail system here that is quite impressive for the size of the city. I use it often. Grandkids use it. It's wonderful. So thank you. Any other thoughts on that?
No, it is impressive trails. I appreciate them and my family.
I just want to note on that, paving the third finger at Cheetah Lake Park, that may be one that is not doable. The structural soundness of the fingers to drive an asphalt or concrete truck out on that finger is non-existent. And so it would turn into, if you wanted to pave it, it would turn into, I assume, things like lots of wheelbarrows of asphalt, which probably is not going to be doable. So you may want to think about, that one may have to remain gravel. It's just the finger itself is not going to hold a truck.
sure. So in the design of the West River Trail from the parking lot at the boat ramp, that was all built with in mind that we would take trucks out there to be able to do future work. So at least the access to that was built with the heavy equipment in mind.
Yeah, it's the finger itself
Sure.
that's not, and there's really no way for us to do like work in the lake to try and build up the finger and the structural soundness without doing a huge amount of environmental assessment, which our preference at this point is to leave things as they are. So,
And it's a low priority, on
Okay.
the list. It's just a project that's been discussed over the years. And the master plan Trails master plan actually calls for bridges out there to create loops, not necessarily that they'd have to be paved, but to create whenever you get a loop, you get a whole lot more users because there's different ways of accessing it. So it's still, I think, a viable project for a loop as an improvement.
Okay, anything else on that item? We're just rolling through today.
Yeah.
Public comments. Do we have any public comments? Don't see any. A couple of things to know. City has requested that we don't do a May meeting because they're right in the middle of budget and there's some conflicts. And I think that is a fair assessment. We want to have meetings as often as we need them. We weren't having them enough, but I think we're having them often enough. So anything for April or May, we'll want to bring to that April meeting or wait till June. And then,
Although people are always welcome to come to the Budget Committee, which would be on May 17th, because it is the best meeting of the year. Just saying.
I don't know if she's serious or not.
I'm actually deadly serious. Budget is the best thing to do ever, always,
For a budget person, yeah.
always, for everybody.
And then we were, just the way it worked, we were real late getting some of the paperwork in for today's meeting. Council meetings and stuff require a week ahead, and let's just kind of go with that. I think that's a good, Rod and I talked about it. I think that's a good,
Be on the agenda.
stuff to be on the agenda so that it can all go out. They got time to work on the packet, and so it can all go there. Anything else from the committee? Wow, this one was fast. Next scheduled meeting is April